Across the Fence, from farm to school, we'll learn about programs that improve the health of Vermont school kids and support our local farms. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Since 2005, Green Mountain Farm to School has grown from a single school garden project to a nonprofit organization that serves schools and supports farms across northern Vermont. To find out more about what Green Mountain Farm to School does and how it does it, I'm joined by its founder and executive director, Catherine Sims. Welcome and thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So what does Green Mountain Farm to School do?
So Green Mountain Farm to School is a nonprofit organization, and we're based out of Newport, up in the Northeast Kingdom. And we're working at schools across northern Vermont to bring good food to kids and support our local farms.
And so how did you get started doing this?
Well, I moved up to the Kingdom because I wanted to learn more about agriculture. And I was just I was in heaven, surrounded by incredible farms producing delicious food and part of a great community. But pretty quickly I was shocked to discover that this place with so many farms is for so many people who live there a food desert, where there's actually a lack of access to that healthy food. And so I got excited to start working in schools to reach kids to ensure that all Vermonters have access to healthy food.
And so why schools?
Well, so here in Vermont, 60,000 students every day eat school food 5 days a week, getting more than half of their calories from school lunch, school breakfast, and school snack. So what we feed our kids at schools and what we teach them about that food affects how they'll grow, how they'll learn, what food they will feed their own families, and how long they will live. So school is really where it all begins.
Are people surprised to hear that? I mean, that's a lot of food kids are eating away from home.
Yeah, I think often we think of schools as a place where kids are just in the classroom learning, but we're feeding so many kids, and the food that they're getting is so critical for how well they'll learn. A kid who's not well fed won't be focused in the classroom, and so that's a really critical part that our schools play for our kids and our communities.
Let's talk about some of your specific programs. Your newest, I guess, is Vermont Harvest of the Month?
Yeah, that's our statewide campaign that's promoting a different Vermont-grown food each month. And we're providing ready-to-go materials for classrooms, cafeterias, and communities so that they have the resources that they need to feed and serve and prepare those foods.
Well, tell me a little bit about some of the materials that the schools get, because that's sort of critical to the success of this program.
Yeah, we want to make it easy for teachers or food service directors or parents to feature the food that we're highlighting that month. So on our website, there are kid-tested and kid-friendly recipes for each month, and there are lesson plans that integrate those foods into the classroom, as well as tips for cooking with kids and having fun with those foods for parents and families.
And so what's been the reaction from schools who do this?
The schools are ecstatic. We've had over 50% of the schools in Vermont already pledged to be a part of the campaign and feature those foods every month in the school.
That's pretty amazing.
We're delighted.
Yeah,
over 40,000 kids reached every year.
That's fantastic. Now there's something called the Lunchbox.
Yeah, so the Lunchbox is our food truck. It is we purchased an old FedEx van and converted it into a commercial kitchen, and we are driving around throughout the summer providing free meals through the school nutrition program to kids 18 and under. We're trying to bridge the summer hunger gap. Kids who rely on school meals during the school year often find summer to be a hungry time, and so we're excited to be on the road delivering fresh, healthy local food to kids in our communities across the Northeast Kingdom.
And you know, you think summertime, you think, oh, there's an abundance of food in the summertime, and yet there's a disconnect from kids getting it.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun in the summer trying to feature that bounty of food that our farms are producing and getting it to our community.
Okay, then there's something called the Northeast Kingdom Farm to School Network.
Yeah, so we're working hard to grow farm to school programs that are getting good, healthy local food to kids in the in the kitchen, in the cafeteria, as well as education about healthy foods and agriculture happening at every single school in the Northeast Kingdom. So we're out there on the ground building gardens with kids and getting local food to the cafeteria and creating a network where schools are sharing their best practices with each other and learning from one another.
What were some of the obstacles in sort of launching that?
Yeah, so often one of the challenges is capacity. Teachers have a really full plate with a lot of different mandates and priorities, and we're there to help provide resources to make it easy to do this work, so that it's not an extra add-on, that it's really complementing and supporting the goals and priorities that they have already.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the Green Mountain Farm Direct.
Yeah, so Farm Direct is our food hub where we're trying to make it easy for schools and other institutions to purchase local food. So we're serving as a broker between our farms and our school and other customers, where we're publishing a product list of all the farms and the products and their prices. Mm-hmm. Schools are ordering through us, and then we're picking up and we're delivering that food every week to our customers. Over the last year, we moved $350,000 worth of local food to over 119 different customers across northern Vermont. So both providing additional income and revenue for our farms, and also ensuring that healthy local food is getting to schools and institutions.
Because that was one of the issues that farmers had, was producing the food, but then how to get it where it needs to go.
Exactly, exactly. So providing that distribution and marketing service for our farms, and also making it easier for customers to order, because who's out there? What do they have? How do you get it?
Right.
Really being that communicator, that broker.
And there's something called the Harvest of the Month dinner.
Every year we do our Taste of the Kingdom, where we're featuring local foods and sharing them with individuals in the community. So we bring together farmers and food producers and restaurants, and our guests come and sample all those products and fall in love even more with the great food that we produce here in Vermont.
Why is that important, to get these people together?
It's really all about relationship building. I know that, at least for myself, if I know where my food is coming from, mm-hmm. and I know that my dollars are supporting someone in my community down the road, I feel better about the food that I'm tasting.
Right, and so you emphasize, too, hands-on education with the children, including school gardens, which is a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, so sometimes trying new foods can be scary.
Yes.
You know, rutabaga, what is that? But we found that when you plant that seed and you tend it and you nurture it and you watch it grow and you get to help harvest it, you're more likely to try those foods. So school gardens are critical tools for us for getting kids to try new foods. And we know that when food service serves something in the cafeteria line, if they say it comes from the school garden, kids are far and away going to be excited about trying it.
And I think, too, they learn how much work goes into producing food.
I've had a student before turn to me after, you know, working in the garden throughout the summer, and they say, wow, gardening really teaches me patience.
Yes, it does.
Which is a lesson I think all teachers can appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like getting local food in the cafeteria is an important part of the Farm to School program. How does that work?
Yeah, so we start with the school gardens, getting kids exposed to those new foods that we grow here in Vermont: winter squash and onions and potatoes and carrots and tomatoes. But you know, what we grow in the school garden goes to the cafeteria, but it's not going to meet all the needs of the cafeteria for the full year. So that's where our local farm partners come in, making sure that we have a regular supply of those foods year-round to our school food service. And we do a lot of taste tests in the cafeteria to introduce those new foods to kids, where they're actually helping prepare that foods and serve it to each other, and mm-hmm. Try small samples of those new foods, really building a culture of trying new foods.
That is a huge obstacle, because if anybody who has children knows that getting them to try something new is not easy.
Absolutely. And so just like the garden, getting them involved in planting the seeds and growing it, in the schools we're working hard to get kids actually, you know, using knives and chopping and preparing and mixing and stirring and preparing those foods, because when you're involved in making it, you're going to be more likely to try it.
And what's been the reaction from the students?
Overwhelmingly, it's been really positive. That by the end of the year, when our staff walk into the school, they're like, are we doing a taste test today? Because it is so fun to prepare and serve and try new foods. And that when we know where our food comes from and we've had a hand in growing it, we're going to be excited about trying it.
And how about the reaction from the children when they go home and talk to their families about what they're eating, or they'll say, gee, we should have kale?
Yeah. Just last week I heard a terrific story exemplified that for me. Student had made cabbage soup in the classroom and had enjoyed it so much that he went home to his mother that day and said, Mom, like, we've got to make this recipe. And she said, like, I don't know how to do that. And he said, don't worry, I'll show you how to do it. And they together prepared the cabbage soup, and it was a big hit. And it's really exciting to see change happen, not only in the school, but in the home environment and our whole community.
So the Farm to School movement seems to be growing pretty rapidly. Where does the funding come from?
Yeah, it's been exciting for us to be doing this work over the last 10 years. At first, it was sort of making the case that, childhood obesity matters and that school food can be a part of that solution. But I don't have those conversations anymore. People are just really eager to help do more of this work in our communities, and that's exciting. And so about half of our funding every year comes from grants and foundations, and then a quarter of our funding comes from program service fees, where schools and others are help contributing to our work. And then the final quarter is from individuals and businesses in the community who are helping us affect this change in our schools and in our community.
Are people surprised to see how well this is working?
I mean, sometimes there's a lot of skepticism.
When you talk about changes in the cafeteria, it's always like, the obstacles get thrown up. Well, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this. But it seems like you've been able to overcome a lot of those or circumvent them and prove to people that, yeah, you can do it.
Exactly. So, behavior change can be slow sometimes, but we are making great progress, and it's really exciting. And every day I go into a school, there's something inspiring that's happening that makes me excited to keep doing more of this work with our team.
Now, when you started, you were working in the Northeast Kingdom, so the schools are kind of small. Communities are smaller. Yeah. Is that due to the success, and can you translate that into larger communities?
Yeah. So I think absolutely part of the initial success of our programming has been working in small communities where it's working with a couple of teachers in a building where we can pilot something and figure out the best practices. But I absolutely believe that the work we're doing is a model for the rest of the state and the rest of the country. I think we should all be really proud that Vermont is leading the way. We have nonprofits across the state and state agencies and foundations and that are really developing some innovative farm-to-school work that is serving as a model for the rest of the country. So Vermont is leading the way in this work.
And we didn't talk a lot about this, but it's also beneficial to local farmers because they know in advance how much of something they should be planting to fulfill the needs of the schools.
Yeah, absolutely. Farm to School is an economic development tool. We're working hard to create new markets for farms where they can expand their production and know that the food that they're growing is serving those in their community.
So what do you see in the future? Where are things headed?
Yeah, we're really proud of the success that we've had with schools, but we're also really excited to extend beyond schools, knowing that we want to reach every single Vermonter, ensure that they have access to healthy local food. So we're bringing the work that we've been doing in schools into the community, working in retail grocers to make sure that there's a regular supply of local food on the shelves, and that we're doing food tastings and education with the whole community in that retail environment. So we're looking forward to expanding this work even more broadly in our community.
And too, you have ways to document that this is in fact working. And can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're tracking the sales of the local food in our community, so we know the economic impact that we're having on our farms, and we're every time we serve up a new food, we're getting people to vote. Did they try it? Did they like it? Do they want to eat that again? So gauging feedback on the recipes that we're serving, and then also looking longer term at behavior change. Are folks changing what they're serving at home, changing their purchasing habits, and how is it impacting their health?
Mm-hmm. And so has it been receptive in kitchens, in schools' kitchens?
Absolutely. We've seen the numbers of schools that are a part of this growing every single year. We're on the ground at 28 schools in the Northeast Kingdom, but we're looking to reach all 100% in the coming 5 years.
And so if people are interested in getting involved in this, what should they do?
Yeah, we have a lot of great information on our website, greenmountainfarmtoschool.org, and folks can always give us a call at 802-334-2044.
And just one more time, talk a little bit about some of the numbers. When you started, how many schools you were involved in, and now how many schools you're involved with? So
we started with one school garden at the J. Westfield Elementary School, and this year we're gearing up to plant 25 school gardens. We are selling food to 119 different customers, schools, farms, or schools and institutions, and we're working with over 40 different farms and food producers. So we're excited to be reaching a lot in our community and excited to do even more in the coming years.
Well, that's very, very exciting. Thanks a lot for joining me today.
Oh,
that's our program for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.